Welcome to the Academy. Okay, today we're opening up the absolute ultimate scholar's toolkit. If you've ever found yourself wondering how social scientists actually study the incredibly complex, fascinating world of human society, well, you are definitely in the right place. In this explainer, we aren't just looking at what we know about society, we're taking a hard look at how we know it. We're going to examine the exact, rigorous methods used in the fields of sociology and anthropology. So grab your notebooks, get comfortable, and let's unlock the secrets of the Academy together.
Here's our syllabus for today. First, the meaning of method. Second, the scientific research model. Third, sociological research methods. And finally, anthropological field techniques. Let's jump in.
Section 1. The meaning of method. Decoding the roots.
To really kick things off here, let's think like linguists for a second. Where does the very concept of a research method actually come from? Well, if we do a little etymological detective work, it traces all the way back to ancient Greek. It's actually a mashup of two root words, meta, meaning with or after, and hodos, meaning way. Put them together, and method literally translates to an appropriate way of doing something. And honestly, this completely flips our perspective on science. You see, science isn't just some dusty encyclopedia of facts you memorize from a textbook. It's an active process. It is the appropriate way you figure those facts out. Without the hodos, without that specific way, you basically don't have science at all.
And that brilliantly illustrates the core equation of academic research right here. Scientific knowledge equals systematic knowledge plus the methods of achievement. You just cannot have true scientific knowledge with a random scattered pile of facts. It doesn't work. You need a perfect marriage between the information you've gathered and the precise, rigorous methods you use to actually achieve it. So, the absolute crucial takeaway is this. The validity of what you know is entirely dependent on exactly how you figured it out. Moving right along to Section 2, the scientific research model, the ultimate formula.
So, what exactly is this appropriate way we keep talking about? Well, whether you're studying distant galaxies or a remote human village, researchers basically follow a universal blueprint. Now, the source text breaks this down into 7 distinct phases, but we can easily group them into these 5 core steps. Step 1, you select a problem and review the literature. You gotta know what's already been said, right? Step 2, you formulate a hypothesis, your educated guess. Step 3, you choose a research design to figure out exactly how you're gonna test it. Step 4, you get out there and actually collect the data. And finally, Step 5, you analyze those results and state your conclusions. It's a highly logical, step-by-step ladder to discovery.
But listen, this process is almost never a perfectly straight line. The scientific method is inherently cyclical. It's a loop. Take a look at that crucial step on the right. Think. Try again. When you run an experiment and analyze the results, you might find out your hypothesis is totally false, or maybe just partially true. And guess what? That is absolutely not a failure. Not at all. That just forces the researcher to go right back to the drawing board, construct a brand new hypothesis, and cycle through the whole process again. It is this continuous, beautiful loop of refining what we know about the world.
Which brings us to Section 3, sociological research methods, the macro detectives. All right, let's pivot to the specific tools of the trade. Sociologists, they act kind of like the macro detectives of the social sciences, zooming out to look at large-scale societal structures. And what we see here is a massive trade-off between two of their biggest tools. On the left side, we have the survey method. This uses standardized questionnaires or interviews. Now, the incredible superpower here is that you can gather data from a representative population. You can literally generalize your findings across an entire country. But because surveys often just study opinions and attitudes rather than actual behavior, they can sometimes end up being a bit superficial. Now, contrast that with participation observation over on the right. This involves direct, on-the-ground observation of social interaction within a community. It gives you this profoundly in-depth view of what people actually do, not just what they say they do on a piece of paper. The catch? It's much, much harder to generalize those findings broadly. It's also worth noting real quick that sociologists use experimental methods to test specific variables in highly controlled settings, and historical methods to look at how societal structures evolve over vast periods of time. Essentially, the sociologist has to choose the exact right tool for the specific mystery they're trying to solve.
Section 4. Anthropological field techniques, the micro-embedded agents. Grab your backpacks because now we're diving into boots-on-the-ground fieldwork. If sociologists are the macro detectives, anthropologists are the micro-embedded agents of the academic world, and their absolute fundamental requirement is a practice called ethnography. Our source text defines ethnography as the first-hand, personal study of local cultural settings through fieldwork in another society. So you simply cannot do ethnography from a comfortable, air-conditioned desk in a library. No way. You have to physically be there, living, breathing, and experiencing the actual culture you're trying to understand. And when an anthropologist first drops into a new society, what do you think their first trick is? It actually isn't whipping out a formal clipboard and interrogating people. It starts with direct observation and simple daily conversation. Literally just chit-chat. And why is that? Because the absolute most vital asset an anthropologist has is rapport. You have to build trust, you have to maintain a genuine, authentic, human relationship with the local community before you can even begin to scratch the surface of their deeper, hidden lives.
Okay, so once you've established that vital rapport, then you can pull out the more specialized frameworks, like the genealogical method. And what's absolutely fascinating about this is how it maps human connection. The genealogical method is the systematic study of kinship and family relationships. You see, in many societies around the world, a family tree isn't just some historical record of who's related to who. It actually provides the entire framework for understanding complex webs of social connections, how identity is formed, and how cultural practices are maintained. By mapping the genealogy, you are quite literally mapping the hidden social wiring of that entire community. It's like finding the master blueprint.
But hold on, the ethnographer's toolkit doesn't stop there. They also frequently work with key informants. These are specific individuals who have deep, expert knowledge about particular areas of community life. They conduct in-depth, life history interviews to see how an entire culture shapes just a single human lifetime. They focus heavily on discovering local beliefs and perceptions so they can see the world entirely through the subject's own eyes. They also engage in longitudinal research, meaning they don't just visit for a week and leave. They study a site continuously over a very long-term period to track changes. And sometimes they even execute coordinated team research to cover more ground. It is an incredibly rigorous, fully immersive toolkit. So, we've looked at the sweeping, macro surveys of sociology and the deeply intimate microethnography of anthropology. I want to conclude our masterclass today by challenging you to take these academic tools right off the chalkboard. Apply them as a lens to investigate your very own world. Think about it. If you wanted to truly understand your own neighborhood, your own city, or even your own workplace, which toolkit would you use? Would you deploy a standardized macro survey to capture the big picture? Or would you embed yourself as an ethnographer to really understand the daily chit-chat and the hidden relationships all around you? The tools are ready and waiting. It's up to you to find the appropriate way to the truth. Thank you so much for joining me in this explainer, and keep exploring the human world.